Hi all, today we are going to discuss about vacuum circuit breakers. So we have seen till now in the earlier circuit breakers that we have discussed, the arc will be formed whenever the contacts are separated and the arc is maintained due to ionization of the particles in the medium. That means whatever the carriers are produced by the cathode, those carriers while moving through the medium in between, they collide with the molecules of the medium and produce the extra carriers, and those carriers are responsible for production of the arc. So there come the idea, if we can remove the medium that is in between, so automatically the arc cannot be maintained. So that lead to the concept of vacuum circuit breakers. That means in the basic idea behind the vacuum circuit breaker is elimination of the medium between the contacts, which is called as the vacuum. So every medium that has a pressure below the atmospheric pressure, that is 760 mm of Hg, is known as the vacuum. So generally the pressures are measured in torr. TORR, it is named by the scientist who has first invented the measurement of this, measuring the vacuum. So 1 torr is equal to 1 mm of Hg. You can observe here the atmospheric pressure will be 760 mm of Hg. So 1 mm of Hg is called as 1 torr, and generally the pressures of up to 10 to the power of -4 to 10 to the power of -6 torr is maintained in the vacuum circuit breakers, because at this vacuum the advantage is the breakdown strength becomes independent of the gas density and depends on the contact gap length only. That means the distance between the contacts only. So it will be completely independent of the vacuum density. So then the dielectric strength for 9.5 mm diameter tungsten contacts, for example, these are the practical results that are obtained. The gap and what is the kV peak in the case of air and in the case of vacuum. You can observe here for a gap of 1.25 mm, the breakdown strength in the case of air, because this is the value in the peak value, that will be 2.5 kV, whereas it will be 100 kV for the case of vacuum. That means just by maintaining 1.25 mm gap, the dielectric strength in the case of vacuum will be nearly 100 kV. But this is not increased proportionally. In the air it is increased proportionately, but vacuum it will not increase proportionally. So if you are making the contact gap double 2.5, then this kV per air, this becomes it increases the value, it becomes nearly equal to 7.5, but this increases only to 140. Again, if this is made equal to 4.5, it is observed that this will go to 15, but this will reach only 200 in the case of vacuum. So if you are plotting the graph between these things, so it will be like this. So this is the distance between electrodes in mm versus the dielectric strength, the voltage in kV. You can see here in the case of vacuum, when compared to any other medium, even SF6 also under high pressure, so you can see the vacuum circuit breaker, the contact gap required is very less until you want to get up to 150 kV breakdown strength. So after that what happens, because the curve becomes flattened down and then SF6 will be dominating. So from this we can conclude that if you want to go for the voltages above 150 kV breakdown strength, then SF6 will be better option. Otherwise we can go with the vacuum circuit breakers. So you can see the comparison here also. For a gap of around 10 mm, the air will break down at 30 kV, SF6 at 1 bar, that means without pressure, will break down at 60 kV. Oil circuit breaker will break down at 110 kV, vacuum circuit breaker will break down around 170 kV, whereas SF6 circuit breaker at 5 bar will withstand up to 250 kV. That means if the gap is more, then SF6 is better. If the gap required is less, then in that case the vacuum is better. Or we can tell that for the case of interrupting the low voltages, the vacuum needs lesser gap of the contacts for extinguishing the arc. So very fast operation is possible using arc. So let us now see the formation of the arc. So the cathode surface, even though it looks like smooth from the outside, but if you go to the microscopic level, so it will always have some micro projections will be there, always some irregularities will be there. Because of irregularities, what happens, during the separation of the contacts, the current will be concentrated in these micro projections as they are the last point of the contact. So due to the small area of cross section, the projection will suffer exclusive evaporation due to the resistive heating and supply sufficient quantity of the vapor for arc formation. So what happens, whenever the contacts are separated, the entire that current will be concentrated on the small contact tips. So because of that, what happens? The density increases there, or the contact resistance increases there. So that lead to evaporation of the material. So when the material is evaporated, it produces so much amount of the vapor, so which will act as the carrier and responsible for the production of arc. So in a general manner, we can tell that the formation of electron vapor can be either due to the field emission. This field emission is due to the voltage gradient, or it can be due to thermoionic emission. So the example I have told you, due to the contact resistance. Because of that, that is called as thermoionic emission, or the combination of both is also possible. So how these field emission, thermoionic emission, these things we have already discussed in our previous lecture, so I am not going in detail. So now the amount of ionized metal vapor depends on the magnitude of the fault current. If the current is more, automatically more heat is produced because more energy is dissipated there, so automatically more carriers will be generated. So at current 0, automatically, because the amount of vapor generated will be 0, so because that vapor is generated from the cathode, and cathode that too from the small tips wherever the arcs are there because of irregularity of the cathode. So that's why it is represented by the cathode spots. So this cathode spots will extinguish in 10 to the power of minus 8 seconds in the case of vacuum circuit breaker. That is a major advantage of this one. So now how to maintain the vacuum arc stability? So we know that in 50 Hz AC supply, the current passes through 0 value 100 times in a second. And we know that always the arc extension should happen at natural current 0. Otherwise what happens? The concept of current chopping will come, and that leads to the restriking of the contacts again. And what is the current chopping and other phenomena we have already discussed in our previous lectures. So I am not going into detail now. So if it is necessary that arc should be stable up to the natural current 0, because it should be stable up to the natural current 0. So in order to maintain its stability, the stability of the arc depends on the contact material and its vapor pressure and circuit parameters such as the voltage. That means if the voltage is more, so automatically the arc stability will be more. The arc will go for more time. And similarly, the current, it depends on how much magnitude of current. More the current, more will be the arc. Lesser the current, less will be the arc. And it also depends on the inductance. If there is a series inductance, the property is it will not allow the sudden change. So automatically the current or the arc continues for more time, and it is inversely proportional for the case of the capacitance. So for capacitance, shunt capacitance, if you are taking more the value of shunt capacitance, lesser the time of this stability will be there. So now coming to the contact material and vapor pressure. So higher the vapor pressure, better will be the arc stability, because more vapor is there, then continuous arc will continue until the current 0. It will not interrupt in between. So vapor should be more. And a good heat conducting metal, let us assume that material whichever used will be metal only. So we know the metals have very good heat conductivity, but the problem is if they have very good heat conductivity, they cools the surface at a faster rate. So because of the cooling, what happens? The deionization process happens at a faster rate and it decreases the evaporation rate. So because of this, the arc may get chopped because of insufficient vapor, because the vapor get condensed at a faster rate. So that's why the material whichever is used should have very less heat conducting property. That means the requirements of my material is high vapor pressure and low conductivity is the required property to avoid the current chopping. So we have to choose the material in such a way that it is having this property. So it is observed practically that the materials having high boiling and melting points will have low vapor pressure but are poor conductor of heat. That means I want the poor conductivity of the heat, that property is satisfied, but problem is they produce very low vapor pressure which has high melting point. Whereas the metals which have low melting points, they produce more vapor at the high temperatures, but the problem is they have very good conductivity of heat also. But I don't want this heat conductivity property, I want that it should produce more vapor and I want to combine the features of these two. So that's why to achieve this, we go for the composite metals, so which are having these two properties. That means a metal which is having the first property, a metal which is having the second property, they are combined together so that we will get high vapor pressure and low heat conductivity to avoid the current chopping problem. So example of the materials that are used in practice are copper bismuth or silver bismuth, or silver lead or copper lead is used in practice as the contact materials. So at natural current 0, the cathode spot extinguishes, because when the current is equal to 0, automatically vapor cannot produce. So because it depends on the instantaneous value of the current. So at natural current 0, because the charges or the arc is extinguished, so it will recover within 10 to the power of minus 8 seconds itself, and the original dielectric strength is established in the medium. That is the advantage of vacuum circuit breakers. How it is achieving in this much less time? So this quick buildup of the dielectric strength is due to the condensation and quick diffusion of the metal vapor to the glass walls in the absence of gas molecules. So whenever the current becomes 0, at this instant, once the arc is extinguished, the complete vapor will be condensed at a faster rate because of the absence of the medium in between them. So that's why it condenses at a speed of 10 to the power of minus 8 seconds only. So what we have to do, at natural current 0, the current will extinguish automatically. When the arc is extinguished, it condenses at a very faster rate and the dielectric strength is regained. So what will be the rate of dielectric strength? It is observed that the recovery rate is about 1 kV per microsecond for the arc current of about 100 amperes when compared to the air gap type or air brake circuit breakers, where it will be only 50 volts per microsecond, but here it is 1 kV per microsecond. That means within 1 microsecond it is gaining 1 kV, whereas it is only 50 volts for the case of air brake circuit breakers. So that much difference is there. So that's why this can be used for very fast operation. Let us see the construction of the vacuum circuit breaker. This vacuum circuit breaker will have two contacts, one fixed contact and a moving contact, and there will be a contact tip. The material of the contact tip, I told you, it will be the combination of two materials are used. So generally this fixed contact will be attached with the metallic end cap, which will come as a single design only to provide the proper value of the vacuum, because the air should not escape through this, the vacuum should not be lost. And in the lower side also again metal will be used, and the outer side or the outer envelope is constructed by either ceramic or the glass envelope. The reason nowadays they are going for the glass, the reason is through the glass we can easily observe whether the vacuum is maintained, that means whether vacuum circuit breaker is proper or the vacuum is lost in the circuit breaker. Because if the vacuum is lost, the color will change to the white color. Using that we will know that the vacuum will be lost. So now coming to the lower side, because the moving contact has to move, so whenever it is moving, in that case the vacuum should not be lost. So that is provided by using the steel bellows. So steel bellows will provide the required value of the vacuum pressure. That means when the moving contact is moving, the steel bellows will not allow the outside atmospheric air to enter into this vacuum circuit breaker, so that the vacuum is maintained even when the contacts are moving. So we have discussed about the fixed and the moving contact. Now coming to whenever the contacts are separated, the arc will come between them. I told the vapor will be generated. That vapor will be condensed to the surroundings. So in order to avoid the vapor condensation to the surroundings, because that may lead to problem in the dielectric strength, that's why these are provided in the both sides. This is a steel sputter shield is provided. So this is called a sputter shield, which is made up of steel. This is used to avoid this whatever the vapor is produced to condense on the outer side envelope. So this is used for preventing the metal vapor reaching the envelope, so that the dielectric strength is maintained. Getting this one? So now the contact gap required in the case of this vacuum circuit breakers is only about 5 to 10 mm. That is a major advantage of going for the vacuum circuit breakers. So now coming to the moving contact, generally moving contact is supported by the spring operated. The reason for going for the spring operated is whenever you close the contact should be touching each other very tightly, so that the contact resistance will not be there and good conductivity will be maintained. So if the good conductivity is not maintained, so much heat will be produced there because of the contact resistance. And second one, whenever you are closing the contacts, whenever you are closing, the electromagnetic forces will be applied on the contacts, because we are moving over small gap only. So that may lead to bouncing of the contacts at the time of closing the circuit breaker. So because of the spring pressure, the bouncing of the contacts also will be avoided. So that is a reason for providing that one. So generally these vacuum circuit breakers are used up to 33 kV, because up to 33 kV only the single breaking will be required. If you are going more than 33 kV, then more than one circuit breaker should be connected in series, and these are best for interrupting low current applications such as shunt reactor switching, transformer switching, capacitor bank switching, line dropping, etc. And the clearing time is less than 40 milliseconds. That is a major advantage, and these can be used for frequent switching purposes, and it is having zero maintenance. That means this is mainly used in the applications where the frequent operation is required, and particularly operating such as the capacitor bank. So we have already seen in the capacitor switching, at the time of capacitor switching opening the circuit breaker, the voltage rises to extreme high value, and that may lead to breakdown of the dielectric strength. So that will not happen for the case of vacuum circuit breakers. So these are particularly used for switching the capacitor switching. So these are the best applications. So nowadays in our country, so up to 33 kV for all the remote substations, we prefer to go for vacuum circuit breakers only. I hope what are the advantages, disadvantages and applications of vacuum circuit breakers are clear to you. If you still have any queries, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. I will answer to your queries from there. Thank you very much.